who are not. All right, so it's recording. So, rightly said, physics studies the motion of a car, how fast it is going, right, and how far it can go. Anything else? What else moves?
Sir,
Like with
human
other
body.
vehicles as well.
Other vehicles,
People move too, sir.
people,
What?
right? People move. Physics studies that also. How fast a
Airplanes.
person walk.
Science
Anything
have
else?
to do with people moving.
Sir, the movement of particles.
The movement of particles. That's good. Anything
The
else?
movement of matter.
Mm-hmm. The same thing as particles, right? Thank you for that. So physics can study these things. Anything else? What else moves? Give me an
Sir,
example.
somebody said people.
There are
Science have
people.
to do with that.
Yes, science can study. You have many different branches in science. Malik and other persons who are writing on the board, please stop doing that. Okay, thank you.
But I said, oh,
I don't mean like that, sir. Smaller erase it.
Okay, all right. So um, anything else moves like a boat, right?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And what else move? One more thing.
Wind.
Not really. Yes, we study wind as well. But we'll get into that further down. We can tell you how fast the wind is going, and then
I'm
based on the speed of the wind, you can is either a hurricane, a tropical storm. Have you ever heard these terms before on TV?
yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Right. So if say the wind, I'm not sure the exact value, but for example, or I should look it up quickly. Let me just research it quickly. Right? So you have different speeds of the wind. So you have physicists right now who are studying, and more persons are coming in.
Sorry, I said one more thing that moves. Time is correct.
Yeah, physicists study time as well. Mm, time. All right. So a category, you have different categories of hurricane, right? You have category one hurricane. You have category two hurricane. You have category three, four, five, six. So all of these have different speeds of wind, right? You have for category one, you have, for example, 70 to 90, right? And for category four, so for category four, you have 130. These are just examples, the 156, they're about. So
Hurricane, sir.
yes, and different hurricanes. So we study how fast the wind is going to determine the category. So you know that a category four will cause more damage, right, than a category one hurricane because the wind is moving slower. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, wonderful. All right, we can move on now. Oh, and one more thing. Physicists also study airplanes, right? How does an airplane stay in the air, right?
Yes, sir.
It's all science, right? An airplane has to move at a certain speed for it to be able to stay up in the air, to be able to fly, right? For it to be able to fly, it has to stay in the air at a certain speed. If it doesn't reach that speed, it will fall, right? Okay, we can move on now. Okay, so the next section now is the branches in physics. You're required to know these, right? You're not necessarily required to be able to explain them, right? But you should be able to identify them. So if I say name three branches in physics, you should be able to name at least, you should be able to know these so you can be able to name them, right? Name three branches in physics. So we'll go through them. one by one, right? All right. So the branches in physics, 10 branches in physics are classical physics, right? This is the fundamental, right? This is the fundamental in physics, fundamentals in physics, right? These play a very important role in the other different fields. These other fields depend on this particular field. The other different fields depend on classical physics, and they are derived, and these fields are just um, persons coming up with new ideas to develop other branches in physics. So then we move to modern physics. Modern physics, um, which studies more detailed classical physics. So we go more into the matter, the behavior of matter, the behavior of particles. They study how a particle behaves in heat, and this can lead to development in technologies. All right, many technologies that we use today through modern physics, right? And technologies that are supposed to be developed in the future, right? Such as holograms. Everybody ever heard about holograms before?
Yes, sir.
Holograms. What is a hologram?
Um,
It's like
sir, no, I don't know the meaning, but I am seeing.
yes. So it's like it's not a real person, but it shows the movement of a person, right? Maybe I can get a video in the next class for you to look on a hologram, right? These are things that physics, this is a part of modern physics. All right, the next one is nuclear physics, right? Which studies nuclear reaction. Anybody ever hear the word nuclear before?
Yes, sir.
Nuclear, right? It studies reaction of 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 it studies nuclear reactions between different atoms, right? As I said,
At the last one.
I'm just giving you an idea of them, but you're not required to really explain them, really. Right? All right. Atomic physics now. This goes more in the detail in the structure of an atom. When you learn chemistry, um, some of the things in chemistry are from physics. Physicists were the persons who came up with these ideas. hmm Physicists were some of the basic in physics, right? The structure of an atom. An atom looks like this, right? You ever see this before? Something similar to this?
No.
No?
Yes, sir.
You have seen it, right? You have seen it. So when we get into the chemistry, you will see more of these things. These came from physics, and you have fields in physics that actually study these, right? All right, we're moving on. All right, so the next thing is geophysics, geography physics, right? Is a mixture of geography and physics. You did geography as a subject, right?
No, sir.
Didn't the
Not
geography
grade 7 thing.
in a grade 7? Yeah, right. You did geography in grade 7. And what are some of the things in geography?
Weather. So
Weather,
like
Weather
weather.
and land.
Yeah.
right? So as a
Solar system in there too, sir.
mhm.
Solar system in there too.
Solar system, right? We don't even touch solar system as it, right? Solar system is another branch in physics, but it's not listed here to study space and outer space, right? But geophysics mostly studies the weather, as someone says, and as we spoke about the different hurricane categories in a hurricane. When I watch the news, I hear a hurricane is coming, a category 5 hurricane is coming. You know you have to be prepared because that's a dangerous hurricane, right?
Earthquake as well.
Earthquake. Thank you so much for that. Earthquake. right? So you have physicists that study the size. We're going to also go into that. You have physicists that studies the size of a earthquake. So we also measure, right, the earthquake and their effects. So we have a magnitude one earthquake, magnitude one versus 1 second at this person again. Like Miss Edwards, internet is not behaving, right? So a magnitude one earthquake versus a magnitude four earthquake, right? Which one I think is more dangerous?
One.
No, magnitude four. Magnitude four. We have an earthquake that happened in Haiti. I believe it was a magnitude 6 point something earthquake, right? Which destroyed most of the houses in the rural areas, right? Magnitude four earthquake. So right after earthquake, the physicists can know the magnitude and how large it was, but at the time, and right now, we're not able to really predict an earthquake. We cannot predict it because it happens so quickly, but we can tell how big it was afterwards. All right, we're moving on to biophysics. Anybody ever hear the word biology?
Yes, sir.
Biology, right?
Yes, sir.
Biology studies what?
Chemical.
Biology studies the body,
The body.
right? Biology studies the body. So we take biology and we physics and we put them together, right? Physics studies movements. Physics studies the behavior of atoms, while biology studies the body, right? So when you put these together, basically, physics studies how atoms react with the body, right? Physics studies how the different machines, right, that the different equipments that doctors use. What do you think developed them?
What I said, sir?
The different equipment that doctors use. Who developed them?
Science.
Yeah, physicists, scientists, or physicists, right? Right. So we develop some of the equipment that they use, equipments with radiation and so forth. X-ray machines. Those, yeah, do you know about X-ray machines?
Yes, sir.
Right. Physicists develop the X-ray machines. All right, so we have 10 minutes until the Zoom call closes. We'll have to come back again. Yeah, let's click the same link and then you can come back after it closes. So, but we'll continue in the meantime.
Sir, so which one do deals with chemical?
Chemical, you have chemistry.
The science chemical.
You have
That-
chemistry. So you have the different you have physics first, then you have biology, then you have chemistry.
Hey.
Chemistry, right? So these are different branches. So you will spend a term doing each of these. So this term you will be doing physics. Next term, I think you will be doing chemistry. And then the final term you'll be doing biology.
Sir, you teach all three of them?
No. I only teach physics. Right. Okay, let's move on. So we're at mechanics now. Mechanics. Let me just erase this quickly. Right. Mechanics studies motion. Right. Remember we spoke about motion, how fast a car is going. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if a car is moving from here, I'm not a good draw. I'm not a good artist, but let's say this is a car, right? This is a car. This is the road, and it moves from here to over here, right? Not the best car in the world. I'm sure you have people who can drive better car than me. All right, it has wheels, right? And it moves from here to here. We study how fast it has moved. We study the distance it has moved. So if I am in Ocho Rios and I want to know how long it would take me to reach in Trelawney, right? I can use mechanics to tell me how long it will reach, and it will reach about. It will take me about 1 hour to come from to move from Ocho Rios to Trelawney or from Saint Anne to Trelawney, right? That's mechanics. So we study how fast an object moves, how fast the airplane moves, how fast the boat moves, and so forth. All right, see a message in the chat. I'm just checking quickly. Right, right. Mechanics has to do with movement. Mechanics has to do with movement, right? All right. Who wants to guess what acoustics has to do with?
Sound.
Right, has to do with sound, sound and waves. The sound waves, right? Physics. You have a branch in physics that studies sound, right? You have a branch in physics that studies sound waves, right? All right. Optics now. There's a branch in physics. What is optics? What do you think optics study?
Sir, the eye.
Not quite. You're close. The light, right? Light. The eye has to do with light. Right. So physics study light. You have branches in physics that study light and the behavior of light. You realize that light cannot really bend around a corner, right? Light
Yes, sir.
travels in a straight line. But then if you have it can also spread, but it cannot bend around a corner, but it can spread, right? That's physics.
Yes, sir.
All right. And the last one, thermodynamics, right? Physics also studies thermodynamics, which deals with the characteristics of temperature and temperature changes and what happens to different bodies as temperature changes. Okay? So as I said before, you won't be required to necessarily to know all the explanations. You just need to just study them, right? And just be able to identify. If I ask you, name three three branches in physics, you should be able to name them. All right, let's move on. Okay, before I go over there, right? Anyone knows any career in physics? You know any career in physics?
Physics teacher.
Of course, physics teacher.
Doctor.
Not really.
And
No. Physics teacher, science teacher.
Oh, that means
So it's not really a lot, and they're not really popular. But you have some careers in physics, right? All right, let's go over there now. Okay, so we can start at a data scientist. Let's start right here. Data scientist, right? Data scientists, they take, as we spoke about the information from different platforms such as like meteorological data. Um, you have data about hurricanes, data about pressure, in the atmosphere and all these different data. Data scientists take this data, right, and they analyze them. So, for example, we realize, if suppose we realize that we're getting hurricane category 3 hurricane every year, right? The the data scientists would take this data, right, and trying to figure out why every year we're getting category 3 hurricanes in the Caribbean, right? Um if we're getting if we're getting a lot of tropical storms in one year, right? The data scientists will look on the different on the data, like the wind speed at that time, and they would take it and they would try to figure out why what is happening. So you have things such as climate change. Everybody ever hear about climate change?
Yes, sir.
What
Yes,
is
sir.
climate change? Change in the climate or global warming. Anybody ever hear about global warming?
Yes, sir.
Global warming, right? Where what happens in global warming? What happens in
How
global
would
warming?
that?
Sir, when the climate change.
Right.
Sir,
The-
something with greenhouse gases and
Right.
CNG was.
Continue. That is good. That's on point. Continue.
Sir, I don't remember what like, sir. I just remember I said something with greenhouse gases rise up, you know.
Okay, good. All right, so we have less than a minute. So anytime now, this is going to shut off. So we're going to close and then come back for the remaining 20 minutes. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right.